So finally, we got some news to talk about. We have some comments to go over that Jim Ryan had made in regards to Game Pass, allegedly, I should say. And we've also got a response from Microsoft to the UK regulators for this whole ABK acquisition. Before we jump into that, if you could do me a huge favor, like, subscribe, share the video. Helps the channel a ton. Now let's talk about what Jim Ryan had to allegedly say at a employee Q&A earlier this month, where he talked about market competition. This comes from Insider Gaming's sources, and so because it's Insider Gaming, Tom Henderson, I'm very likely to believe that there's some validity to this. So in the response to a question about Xbox Game Pass, Jim Ryan reportedly said that when we consider Game Pass, it seems to be getting lower Game Pass numbers. When we consider Game Pass, we've sold more PS5s in 2 years than they have gathered subscribers, and they've been doing that for 6 or 7 years. Ryan reportedly continued to say we're just shy of 50 million subscribers, and they are in the low 20s, but there's more work to do to grow that number. So it sounds like Jim Ryan doesn't really see Game Pass as that much of a concern, despite all the talks that were happening in regards to the ABK acquisition, where that is not what the conversation was at all. Now, granted, he's going to do what he has to do in order to not get this deal passed through and to stop it and block it. So he's going to say whatever it takes. I kind of get where he's coming from on the sense of why they don't really see it as that much of a concern, because, well, obviously they're still selling a lot of PS5s and their exclusives speak for themselves. As we saw with God of War Ragnarok this year, being such a big hit, amazing reviews, amazing sales numbers, people are loving the game. And then before that, Horizon Forbidden West, we also got Gran Turismo 7, which did some excellent numbers as well and is doing really well. So it's just says something about, PlayStation and their ability to create first-party titles that are top tier, top of the game. And we are also looking at their third-party deals that they seem to make and second-party deals with other companies as well. So it really shows where PlayStation is at and the kind of content that they are going to make and continue to make. And regardless if Game Pass exists or doesn't exist or what it has, you can't deny the quality of their games that they continue to make and are only available on PS5 and eventually are coming to PC. So regardless, Game Pass will never completely eradicate what PS5 or PlayStation in general has done and what they continue to offer and are going to offer well into the future. So it is interesting to see what Jim Ryan had to say versus what he was saying with the whole ABK acquisition. But again, it makes sense given that he's trying to block the acquisition. Let me know what you think of that, if you think it does make sense, or how you feel about these comments that are being made that are all allegedly being made, right? We don't know for sure that that's what he was saying, but it comes from a pretty reputable source. Now, next, I want to talk to you guys about the response that Microsoft gave to the UK regulators, and this is a pretty big one. There's a whole report, but I'm just going to go over to this big quote that seems to be circulating the internet, and this one actually I saw on WindowsCentral.com. They say, in quotes, "In addition to having outright exclusive content, Sony has also entered into arrangements with third-party publishers which require the exclusion of Xbox from the set of platforms these publishers can distribute their games on. Some prominent examples of these agreements include Final Fantasy VII Remake, Bloodborne, the upcoming Final Fantasy XVI, and the recently announced Silent Hill 2 Remastered," but I think they mean Silent Hill 2 Remake. So this is their argument for Sony's exclusives and how exclusives are a normal part of the industry, and that them getting, I guess, trying to make their point that it's not a bad thing for them to acquire Activision Blizzard King. So the couple things that I have a problem with in this quote here is, number one, Bloodborne. Bloodborne was co-developed with Japan Studio, was, I'm pretty sure, funded by Sony, and was published by Sony. So it's their IP. Bloodborne belongs to them, and they also co-produced this thing with one of their first-party studios. So this is not even in the question of it being an exclusive. Is it justified as an exclusive for PlayStation 4? It absolutely is. It's their IP, the same way Death Stranding is their IP. So there's no question about it. This is something that Sony has full right to do. When it comes to Final Fantasy VII Remake, it seems that this game is not ever coming to Xbox based on this statement, and neither is Final Fantasy XVI, and neither is Silent Hill 2 Remake, which is absolutely shocking to me. I thought for sure some point down the road these games would make it there, but it looks like PC is the only other place that it's going to go. So big quote here, because they're basically saying, hey, look at all these exclusives that PlayStation has. They have all these partnerships, all these things that are coming out, and you guys are worried about us having Call of Duty and possibly making Call of Duty exclusive, which again, I feel is apples and oranges. Call of Duty is the third biggest IP in gaming to date in terms of revenue. They haven't even been around as long as the other two, which is Mario and at first Pokemon. So it says something when Call of Duty is third on that ranking. It's not a small thing to say. This is a big statement. So I do again feel that the COD conversation and the comparison to these games is not equivalent. It's definitely apples and oranges in this case. If COD did go exclusive, would I be upset about it? No, but I do think that there is an argument to be had in regards to is it going to make a bigger impact than, say, having Final Fantasy VII Remake, which would sell way more on PlayStation anyway, as well as these FF16 games, and any FF game really is going to sell way more on the PlayStation platform, especially because we saw recently that Xbox sales equated to like 6% in the UK when it came to Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core Reunion. So it's not the same thing, whereas COD sells on every platform outside of Nintendo at the moment, and on top of that, the sales numbers are through the roof. So it's just apples and oranges in this comparison. So I do feel that the argument isn't really being made well here, other than they're trying to say that PlayStation just has a lot of exclusives, which is fair, and they have third-party deals, but so has Microsoft. High on Life is only on PC and Game Pass. Not that I'm comparing High on Life to FF7 Remake, but just that there are third-party deals that happen all over the place. This isn't a one-off situation where it's just like Sony doing it. Everybody's doing this. In terms of the Bloodborne thing, again, I feel totally out of pocket. No, like that shouldn't even have been in this quote. So it's a weird thing for them to say that. It seems interesting. The more and more this story continues, we are going to learn more and more about what's happening between Microsoft and PlayStation, and secrets that are going to come out through it as well. And the biggest thing so far is seeing that FF7 Remake, FF16, and Silent Hill 2 Remake are not due out on Xbox. They are not allowing it to go on Xbox. Apparently, it's just going to go to PC afterwards. So very interesting conversation here. I am curious to see how else this story develops. Let me know what you guys think of this quote made by Microsoft and their thoughts on the whole Bloodborne and all these other games. Quickly, I did want to give you guys an update as well. You're going to notice that I'm going to be doing shorts in the morning as small bits of news drop here and there. Don't worry, I'm still doing long-form videos. That is my priority. Typically, my long-form videos will come later in the day after all the news has come out, but I did want to touch up on news in a short format until I could make a full video, as I obviously still work a full-time job. And on top of that, it's also kind of like a YouTube thing, right? Where you want to get yourself in the algorithm. So me making shorts is not a replacement for my long form. It's just to get my videos out to more people. So if you support me on that, I really do appreciate that as well. That's all I have for you guys in today's video. Please like, subscribe, share the video. You can follow me on Twitter. Link will be in the description. You can become a member. It's $1.99 Canadian a month, and every dollar gets reinvested into the channel. I will talk to you all on the next one. Take care.